Hello everyone, my name is Derek, and this is the start of a new series that I want to call You Sing, You Suck. If you're already familiar with my channel, then you would know that I mostly focus on music preservation. Later in the year, I'm planning on uploading the second untitled unreleased album by the band Summer Camp. I was inspired to start this series as a bad album review show from other channels of the type like Todd in the Shadows and Cactus Malpractice. In fact, I think that bad albums get reviewed less than bad movies or bad video games do, and I wanted to spotlight some lesser-known bad albums. Now, I just started getting into Cactus recently, and I was surprised to find that a lot of the albums that he reviewed were ones that I had never heard of. But one of the ones that he reviewed was an album called Of by Orthrelm. I had heard of this album since it was a one-track album, but I had never listened to it. After I watched his review, though, I checked it out, which it was described as being an exercise in repetition. It had some variety to it, but it was all instrumental, and it only featured guitar and drums. I didn't think of it as being the worst album of all time, though, but it did remind me of another one-track album which I had heard of, which was called Breinclouds by Ocrilim. So I listened to it, and I did think that it was the worst album of all time because it was just a guy playing a guitar. But then I came to a shocking discovery, and would you believe that both of these albums were made by the same guy? Looking back at Cactus's review of Of, I noticed that it was only 8 minutes long, and I thought that I could make a longer video for my review. He goes a little bit into the guys that are behind the album, but all you really need to know is that the main guy is a guy named Mick Barr, and I thought that his music needed to be talked about a little more. You see, Mick Barr is the name of the guy that's behind Ocrilim and Orthrelm. But there was another band that he was in, which was described as being like Orthrelm, but with vocals. They were both guitar and drums bands, although this one has a different drummer, and they were called Kromtech. Despite the long lengths of the other two albums, Kromtech never put out an album, but instead only put out a couple of EPs. The one that I listened to was the self-titled one, though, which had 12 tracks, and each track was about a minute long, so that's kind of like an album. In fact, I think I can play the first track right now. Listening to this EP, I can hear influences of genres such as grindcore and math rock, and yet how did Mick go from playing songs that were a minute long to playing songs that were a full album length? Well, I think one answer can be found in the Orthrelm EP called As Rister Veldriox, where instead of the songs being a minute long, now they're only a couple of seconds long. It consists of 99 tracks in about 13 minutes, which is the most that you can fit on a CD, but it's also about as long as Anal Cunt's 88 song EP. I think in this way, though, Mick is demonstrating that he can write songs of any length, that he can make a 12-minute EP that has 12 tracks on it, or he can make a 13-minute EP with 99 tracks on it. It was said that Orthrelm were known to play the album live in its entirety, but I can't imagine anyone playing Breinclouds live, or even enjoying it if it was. It consists of Mick running up and down atonal scales on his guitar with little variety and barely any pauses. It was recorded in 2003 but released in 2008. And if you're wondering if it sounds like this all the way through, then, well, yeah, it does. It's also worth noting that Orthrelm also once released a split with another instrumental metal band called Behold the Octopus. And I'm also familiar with this band because I also saw them on a list that was featured on Ultimate Guitar, which was how I found out about this album. So to me, there was already a bit of a connection between them. So I tried to look up Mick Barr on Wikipedia, but it just redirects me to a metal band, a black metal band called Cactus, which I guess is the band that he's in now. And would you believe that he started this band with the same guy from the band Behold the Octopus? Mick has also collaborated with Zach Hill from the bands Hella and Death Grips, so his music is maybe worth checking out. I don't know if I can listen to all of it though. At the end of Cactus's review, he ended up putting Off at the bottom of his list, saying that it was even worse than Philosophy of the World by the Shags, and I just don't agree with that. I think the shorter a releases by this guy, the better, because the best release ended up being the Crime Tech EP, and then the worst one ended up being the Breinclouds EP. So yeah, this is what I would put at the bottom of my list, I guess, but I guess that's the end of the episode then. If you enjoyed it, let me know if you want more stuff like this in the future. You can even comment below in the comment section and request some bad albums for me to listen to and review. But I guess that's it. So thanks for watching, and stick around next time.